News today, and we're giving you more coverage, of course, of that decision that was made a little bit earlier on by the NPA director, Shaun Abrahams, who said that they are going to prosecute the former president Jacob Zuma, and that he will be facing the law in the coming years. I'm sure it's not going to happen overnight, and we've been getting a reaction and thoughts from analysts, but we're now joined by MP Themba Godi. Thank you very much indeed, and welcome to the program. Your reaction to what's been a very long process to get us to this decision process. Some people will say, you know, this is 13 years too late.
Well, I think two things stand out. Firstly, it is the length of time that this matter has been on the public space. And secondly, it's a very momentous aspect, the fact that a former head of state is being charged. But because it has been on the public space for so long, you somehow want some level of closure or finality around the matter. And I think today's decision is opening the door for us as a country to find closure on the matter in terms of saying, well, there have been allegations in the public space. Can they go to court? Can they be tested there? So that we can finally know what went wrong, who was wrong, what was wrong. But I must say that from where I'm seated, I think this was the most likely outcome, because Advocate NPA stopped the prosecution purely on the basis of abuse of process. And the High Court has found that using abuse of process as a basis is rational. And the former president also agreed, which means all we were left with now was the substance of the charges. Are they substantive or not? And from what Advocate Abrahams indicated, it's like the representations by the former president were also largely based once again on abuse of process, meaning in all likelihood we're going to come up with the decision that we're having.
What is your feeling about the National Prosecuting Authority itself now? Do you think that this perhaps might be starting to rebuild trust with the public, that they are going now after these cases? We've seen some arrests related to the Guptas recently, and now this prosecution against the former head of state. Is this encouraging for you?
Well, look, I've had time to engage Advocate Abrahams. Like on Wednesday, he was. Sorry, he was in Parliament before Scopa in the evening on the work of the NPA, and to say, "Are you guys doing your work?" And at all times, he has said, "Look, he is doing his work, and he will do his work, and all he needs is for all of us to give him the space to do his work, so that." The decision to prosecute the former president must not be seen as a response to the calls that were very loud out there, but it must be seen as a purely legal decision. I don't think one swallow makes a summer, if at all that was the case, because it's not as if prosecute Zuma then will take you to be a serious person. I think that will be very subjective. I do think that if you look at some of the things that have been happening, I had a sense that Shaun Abrahams does want to do the right things, and what you need, however, is to say, how do you ensure that the NPA and the hawks, because sometimes your investigations take long, sometimes your investigations are sloppy, and you therefore can't prosecute. There is need to bring synergy between the two, so that we can, when we judge and we say, you guys don't want to prosecute, we can say, here was a watertight case investigated by the police and handed over to you.
All right, okay, we're going to continue our conversation in a short while, but right now let's catch up and get a little bit more reaction. Alicia, you have a guest on the line.
Absolutely, Peter. I'm very pleased to welcome